Did you think the murals in this ruined temple were just faded old paintings? Why has that streak of cinnabar red not faded for 300 years? Tonight, when your fingertips brush against the smiling goddess in the mural, the chill that seeps into your bones makes the painted beams and carved rafters surge alive before your eyes. The glazed floor casts no reflection of her. You tear apart the luxurious palace gown, and countless charred human shapes crawl like swarming ants. "My lord," she murmurs with a sly smile, dipping her fingers in blood-red pigment. "You're the finest cinnabar of all." When you push open the temple door, the goddess on the mural is smiling right at you. Her eyes ripple like flowing water. Her crimson lips part slightly. "My lord, time flows long in the painting. Why not come in and have a chat?" Your fingertip brushes the icy mural, and the world spins. Inside the painting are carved beams and rafters, a beauty warm and soft in your arms until you realize there's no shadow beneath her skirt. When you try to run, the mural turns into walls of bronze and iron. "Stay with me," she breathes, her voice like orchids, yet her fingers are cold as ice. "Forever." You tear apart her sumptuous palace gown, only to find layers upon layers of charred human silhouettes beneath. "They're all my ink," she licks her lips. "And now, I'll paint with your blood." The temple's hinges groan like the dying howl of a wild beast as you slam your shoulder against the door. The stench of rotting wood and old dust rushes at you, nearly suffocating. The last trace of daylight seeps in behind you, only to be devoured by the thick darkness inside. A cold wind mixed with rain stabs through your thin collar like knives, urging you to step into this ominous shadow. You brace the creaking, half-collapsed door with your hand, panting hard. Rain drips from your hair into your eyes, stinging and burning. Looking around, you see cobwebs stretched like gray nets between broken beams, while the clay statues of the gods have long collapsed, leaving only half a blurred face in the shadows. Its hollow eye sockets seem to stare at you. The only thing even close to intact is the tall wall opposite the temple door, a single, massive mural covering it. Dust lies thick on the wall, its colors dull and peeling, yet the goddess at the center seems strangely alive, standing on clouds, her robe flowing as if she might ride the wind away at any moment. Your gaze is caught before you know it, her eyes phoenix, like drawn with the thinnest ink lines and unknown mineral pigments, gleam with an almost otherworldly light in the gloom. The smile on her lips is tender and merciful, yet carries an indescribable invitation that pierces your heart. "My lord," a voice rings out in your mind without warning, clear as jade beads falling on a plate with a lazy huskiness to it. "Such a stormy night." You jolt violently, stepping back until your spine slams against the cold temple door. Your heart pounds like a drum in your chest. An illusion? Hallucinations from days of travel, hunger, and cold. In the painting, the years flow long. No wind, no rain, no hunger, no cold. The voice returns, now with a faint, teasing laugh, whispering as though against your ear. "Why not come in and talk?" Some invisible force pulls your gaze, locking it onto the goddess's smiling eyes. Her crimson lips, under the dim light, seem to move just slightly. A strange warmth, laced with a cloying, sweet fragrance, slowly spreads, driving away the damp chill and mildew of the temple. Fatigue washes over you like a tide, dulling the sharp pain of hunger and cold. A relaxation you've never felt before seizes you. Without thinking, you reach out toward the wall. Your fingertips don't touch rough, cold plaster, but a warm, faintly elastic surface like the skin of something alive. A powerful suction jolts from your fingertip, crawling up your arm, icy to the bone. The world spins madly. The entire temple twists and stretches before your eyes, then shatters into countless fragments of black dust. A suffocating pressure clamps around your throat. When you open your eyes again, the blindingly bright light makes you tear up. The air is thick with an overwhelming, cloying floral scent. You find yourself lying on impossibly soft brocade bedding. Your hands touch cool, slippery silk. Beneath you is a massive couch covered with thick furs. Looking up, you see a dome carved with intricate patterns, inlaid with colorful gems that glimmer like flowing light. "You're awake, my lord?" That familiar voice, warm and real, sounds right beside you. You snap your head to the side. She's sitting at the edge of the couch. Her face is identical to the goddess on the mural, yet 1,000 times more vivid skin fairer than snow, delicate as porcelain, brows arched like distant mountains, eyes shimmering like autumn waters. Her lips are like freshly bloomed roses, full and dewy. A sheer palace gown drapes over her graceful figure, colors rippling like clouds on her body. As she leans forward slightly, a cascade of dark hair slips over her shoulder, carrying a faint, intoxicating fragrance. Your throat is so dry you can't form a complete word. Shock and an indescribable sense of enchantment intertwine. "My name is Danzu," she says with a playful smile, her gaze flowing with endless charm. That smile has a magic to it, easing the tension coiled inside you. She extends a slender jade hand, fingertips tinted with red polish, lightly resting on your wrist. Her touch is cool, yet somehow soothes the panic in your chest. "You've been startled, my lord. This is Yunmeng Painting Realm, my own little world. Only fate could bring you here." She rises with the grace of a willow swaying in the breeze, leading you to behold this breathtakingly splendid palace. Every pillar is carved with lifelike celestial maidens. Every lattice window is set with translucent glass shaped into exotic flowers. Outside the hall, flowers bloom eternal. Streams flow with nectar, and distant immortal mountains and pavilions drift in misty clouds. Celestial music drifts from nowhere, light and ethereal. Danzu personally serves you fine wine and delicacies. The amber liquid in the jade cup carries rich fruit aromas and a strange herbal freshness. The food is exquisite, melting on your tongue with flavors beyond imagination. Hunger vanishes instantly, replaced by a deep, languid contentment. She is thoughtful and graceful, sometimes plucking the zither, the music rippling like a spring cleansing your heart, sometimes dancing, her figure as elegant as a startled swan's reflection. You are lost in her charm, as if fallen into a dream you never want to wake from. The weariness of the mortal world, its struggles for fame, its storms of hardship feels infinitely distant. "Why not stay here?" she whispers, nestled by your side, her warm breath brushing your earlobe. In the depths of her eyes, a whirlpool seems to spin, pulling you under. "In this painting realm, time flows in peace. I wish to stay with you forever, my lord." You almost nod. This supreme temptation, like the richest wine, dulls your senses. But as your mind wavers and your fingers absent-mindedly brush the cloud-like hem of her skirt trailing on the floor, your gaze slips over the mirrored surface of the glazed floor and your hand freezes. The smooth floor reflects the palace, the carved beams. Your own astonished face, yet not her. No flowing palace gown, no breathtaking beauty. Where she sits, The glazed surface shows only empty light. A chill shoots from your feet to the top of your head, shattering all the warmth and enchantment. A violent dizziness grips you, your stomach churning as the nectar you swallowed turns into icy poison. "What's wrong?" Danju noticed your stiffness. Her voice was still soft and seductive, but her autumn water eyes narrowed slightly, a sharp glint flashing within them. You jerk your hand back and almost spring off the couch, stumbling a few steps until your back slams into a cold, carved jade pillar. Your heart pounds so hard it feels like it might explode. Your shadow. Your voice is hoarse and trembling, filled with a fear you can hardly believe yourself. There's no shadow of you on the ground. The smile on Danju's face freezes for an instant. That stunning face seems covered with a thin, invisible layer of ice, all warmth and tenderness suddenly frozen and stripped away. She slowly rises, her palace gown fluttering, though there is no wind. An invisible pressure radiates from her, making the overly sweet air in the hall grow heavy and cold. "Sharp eyes, my lord." Her voice has changed, all the softness gone, leaving only a cold, inorganic sound like jade colliding with stone. But far too sharp. Fear coils around your heart like an icy serpent. All this dreamlike paradise, fake. A single thought crashes in your mind like thunder. "Run! Get out of here, now!" You hesitate no more. Spinning on your heel, you unleash every ounce of strength for survival, sprinting toward the direction of the ruined temple's gate beyond the massive screen carved with clouds and cranes. Your heavy footsteps pound through the dead, silent palace, each echo sharp as a whip. Almost there. Behind the screen lies the giant wall painted with scenes of the mortal world, the place you came through. You throw your whole weight forward and crash into that seemingly ordinary wall. Bang! The muffled thud is crushingly hopeless. No sensation of breaking through, no spinning return, only a violent recoil, like slamming into an iron mountain. Your bones groan under the force, pain blazing from your shoulder through your entire body. You're thrown back hard, collapsing onto the cold, unforgiving floor. Struggling up, your pupils contract with sheer terror, the colorful mural of mortal life gone. The wall has become a solid, massive slab of cold bronze. Its dim metallic sheen ripples under the harsh palace light like a single, indifferent eye staring down at you. The surface has no seams, no designs, only lifeless green patina, unbreakable, cutting off all escape. Despair drowns you like a flood of ice water. "Stay with me," Danzu's voice whispers behind you. So close, it's as if she's breathing on your neck. You feel her icy breath prickling your skin, raising goosebumps. A hand as cold as death rests lightly on your shoulder. Not like human flesh, but like the finest frozen jade. "Forever." Your blood feels frozen solid, that voice still carrying an eerie, bone-deep tenderness. "No!" The sheer terror bursts free from your throat as a ragged, inhuman scream. Survival instinct overrides all else. You twist violently, summoning a beast-like strength, clawing at Danzu who's just within reach. What unmatched beauty, what heavenly face. All you see now is raw horror. Rip! The tearing sound grates like broken teeth. You don't even realize how much force you've used. The luxurious cloud-colored palace gown, otherworldly in its splendor, is torn apart from her shoulder by your desperate grip. A swath of pale, blindingly white skin is exposed under the bright palace light, dazzling your eyes. But the expected flesh and blood are nowhere to be seen. Beneath the tear lies something grotesque, incomprehensible. There are no bones, no muscles, no veins, only countless twisted, tangled, overlapping, blackened human shapes, densely packed, layer upon layer. They look like the charred outlines of people burned in fire, black, carbonized, curled up, pressing against each other to form her insides. Some of those shapes are frozen in the poses of their final, agonized struggle. Hollow eye sockets staring silently at you as if cursing forever. The sight is so bizarre, so blasphemous, it shatters your mind. A metallic sweetness rises in your throat, and you gag uncontrollably, your stomach heaving. Cold sweat soaks your clothes in an instant. Danzu lowers her head to glance at her torn gown, and the insides revealed, but her face shows no trace of shame, anger, or pain. Instead, that flawless face curves into a look of almost delighted, sick appreciation. Ah, she lets out a soft sigh, her cold fingers stroking the torn edge with a tenderness like caressing a priceless treasure. Her gaze sweeps over those blackened, curled shapes, finally fixing on your terror-distorted face. "Don't be afraid," she says, still calm with that bone-chilling serenity, her red lips curving into a breathtaking yet utterly venomous smile. "They are all my ink and paint." She steps closer. You stumble back, your spine slamming once again into the icy, hopeless bronze wall. There is nowhere left to go. Everyone who wanders into this painting realm makes the perfect pigment. Her eyes blaze with a manic gleam, as if admiring a masterpiece near completion. She slowly extends her tongue with an eerie sense of ritual, licking her full red lips. The movement is both sensual and sinister. Their souls, their fear, their despair. She hisses like a venomous snake, each word slithering into your ears. All refine into the finest cinnabar, painting this realm and feeding me. Her cold fingertip, carrying the touch of death, glides lightly over your chest, which heaves with terror, finally resting over your frantically beating heart. Now, her smile widens, revealing pearl-white teeth, her gaze a black hole that devours everything. It's time to paint with your blood. Fear drives you to the edge of madness. You let out a guttural roar, no longer human, and with the last of your strength, shove her away, turning to sprint wildly into the depths of the palace. Direction, exit, none of it matters. All that matters is getting away from this monster wearing a woman's skin. Your pounding footsteps drum hollow echoes in the palace, like blows on a giant coffin. Behind you, no footsteps follow. Danju doesn't seem in a hurry to chase. She watches from afar, with the cruel amusement of a cat toying with a mouse as you flee in vain. You charge, past pavilions glowing with jewel-like colors, past clumps of flowers that never wither. This realm, once breathtakingly beautiful, now feels like a golden cage crafted to trap you. You run past a jade-lined pond, its water clear enough to mirror the drifting clouds above. Instinct makes you glance at the water surface, and there she is, reflected clearly behind you, Danzu's figure, still in that torn gown, the horrifying black shapes beneath it exposed. That eerie smile is still on her face as she walks, unhurried, every step landing on empty air, as graceful as strolling on clouds. Her eyes pierce the water's surface, locking on to your gaze in the reflection. Terror sends your soul flying. You stumble, nearly pitching into the icy pond, and you don't dare look back again. You run with everything you have, lungs burning like torn bellows, each breath tasting of blood. You don't know how long you've been running when you spot a secluded pavilion ahead, almost entirely swallowed by thick vines. It's in ruins, paint peeling from its pillars to reveal the dull wood beneath. A strange instinct drives you forward, and you dive into it. Inside, the light is dim, thick with the smell of dust and rotting plants. You slump against the cold stone pillar, gasping, your heart pounding as if trying to break free from your throat. Sweat blurs your vision. You wipe your face with a shaky hand, your gaze falling, without thought, on the pavilion's only stone table. It's covered with dust, yet one patch on the tabletop has been obsessively wiped clean, almost unnaturally so. In the center of that clean space, deeply carved with desperate force, are crooked, uneven words. The lamp is outside the painting. When the oil burns out, the fire will start. Run. Every groove of the carving is deep enough to cut, carrying a despair that burns into the bones and the last, frantic spark of hope. Especially those 3 massive exclamation marks there, like 3 blood-soaked daggers stabbing straight into your eyes. Lamp? Outside the painting? When the oil runs out, it burns. Run! A wave of cold sweeps over your body once again, but this time, within that cold, a faint spark of hope, crushed yet not extinguished, flickers to life. These words, were they left by someone who was trapped here before? A cry for help? A clue? The lamp is outside the painting. You suddenly recall that toppled statue in the ruined temple. At its feet, wasn't there? Yes, there really was an old, dust-covered oil lamp, long extinguished. Back then, you dismissed it as junk, never giving it a second thought. When the oil runs out, it burns. Burn what? Burn this painting. It feels like grabbing a lifeline. Your heart races wildly. What if that lamp is the key? If the oil burns out, could it destroy this horrifying painted realm? Just then, a light footstep draws near, stopping at the entrance of the pavilion. A pale hand parts the vines. Found you. Danju's voice carries a hint of mocking amusement. She stands there, the tear in her gown revealing those black, twisted forms beneath, more ghastly in the dim light. Such a naughty one. This pavilion of last words is no good place. She steps gracefully into the pavilion, her gaze gliding over the carved words on the stone table. A flicker of disdain and disgust crosses her perfect face, as though she's looking at some filthy stain. There are always unruly bits of ink, leaving useless marks. She extends a finger tinted with nail polish, lightly brushing across the deep cuts. The stone surface ripples like water under her touch, and the words carved with someone's last breath and life force fade away, vanishing as if they had never existed. Fool's delusions. She withdraws her hand, uttering the 2 words like a verdict. Watching her effortlessly erase the last trace left by those before you, the fragile flame of hope that had just ignited inside you is doused once more, leaving nothing but piercing cold and deeper despair. The time has come. Danzu turns to you, her smile once again alluring and dangerous. Slowly, she lifts her right hand, and the entire arm, begins to turn translucent. Beneath the skin is no longer flesh, but a thick, scarlet liquid, viscous as blood, flowing within. The liquid gives off a pungent stench, like a mix of cinnabar and rust. With a graceful flick of her fingers in the air, you feel a crushing, irresistible force seize you. Your body grows weightless, completely beyond your control, hanging, suspended like a puppet on strings, being dragged stiffly toward the outside of the pavilion. No, let me go. You scream and struggle in vain, your limbs heavy and powerless as if filled with lead. Danzu floats ahead of you, leading you into the depths of the palace with the elegance of a hostess guiding a guest through her treasured collection. And you are about to become her pigment. She brings you to a hall you've never seen before, the air even heavier here, thick with a sweet, metallic stench so strong it turns your stomach. It's the same scent you noticed when you first entered this realm. The hall is empty, save for a massive crystal-clear pool at its center. But what fills it is not water. It's a thick, sticky scarlet liquid, bubbling with countless tiny blisters. It's like fresh blood drawn straight from veins, yet it glistens with a strange, eerie sheen. The sharp, metallic stench emanates from it. Scattered around the pool are tools, a massive stone pestle, jade bowls for grinding, and several paintbrushes with handles smooth as jade. This is her alchemy room, the workshop where she refines her paint. That invisible force holds you suspended above the blood pool, its chill laced with the stench of death and resentment, making your head spin. Danzu hovers by the pool, that translucent arm flowing with scarlet pigment, slowly reaching toward the liquid. "Don't be afraid," she says softly, as if comforting you. Yet her voice is colder than the screams of a ghost. "Soon, you'll become the purest, brightest shade of cinnabar here. Your soul will live with this painting realm, eternal and unending." Her words toll like a funeral bell. Despair closes over you, completely becoming part of this blood pool. Becoming nothing but pigment in her brush, never to be free? No, never! You thrash wildly, desperate to break free of the invisible bonds, your eyes scanning the hall in a frenzy. Then, suddenly, your gaze locks on Danzu's translucent arm, with its scarlet pigment flowing within. That searing red, that nauseating stench, that thick, blood-like texture, an insane, reckless, self-destructive idea explodes in your mind like lightning. The oil lamp in the ruined temple, the words on the stone table. The lamp is outside the painting. When the oil runs out, it burns. If the oil burning out can destroy this realm, then could this very pigment, the essence of the painting realm itself, and Danzu's existence, be the perfect fuel? The thought makes you tremble, not from fear, but from a desperate, all-or-nothing resolve. As Danzu's scarlet dripping hand is about to touch the blood pool, drawing pigment to use on you. "Wait!" you scream with every ounce of strength, your voice warped with tension and frenzy. Danju's hand pauses, hovering above the pool. The scarlet liquid within her arm flows lazily as she tilts her head, her exquisite face showing a flicker of annoyance and curiosity. "You said I'm the finest pigment?" You force yourself to meet those bottomless eyes, your voice hoarse, every word bitten hard with a determination born of madness. "Let me do it myself." Danzu's brows twitch slightly, and for the first time, a trace of surprise and intrigue flashes in those glacier-like eyes. "Oh?" She draws out the word, her hand withdrawing from above the blood pool, as she studies you with interest. "Do it yourself. And how will you do that?" Instead of letting you refine me, you gasp for breath, your heart pounding like it'll shatter your ribs, but you force yourself to look at the churning scarlet pool. "I'll jump in myself. Let my soul, my fear, my everything blend into it. Wouldn't the pigment you get be purer, more perfect?" You practically roar the last words, hysterical and feverish. "I'll become your most perfect masterpiece, immortal forever." You lock eyes with Danzu, watching every micro-expression. You're gambling on her obsession with perfect pigment, on her confidence in her absolute control, on the boredom and curiosity born from her endless years. Time seems frozen. The blood pool bubbles, its sweet, metallic scent choking the air. The invisible force still holds you aloft over the pool like a sacrificial offering. Danju's amusement deepens, her face alight with twisted fascination. Slowly, with elegant grace, she raises her scarlet flowing arm, extending a slender finger wreathed in red mist. She looks at you, her crimson lips curving in a smile that could topple kingdoms, though her voice is cold and commanding. An interesting proposal. With a flick of her mist-wreathed fingertip, your body suddenly lurches freed. The binding force vanishes in an instant. The sensation of falling hits you like a storm. Your body plunges downward. Below you churns the boiling, vengeful scarlet pool, the metallic stench slamming into you like a wall. Death is just a breath away. Now, in that split second before you hit the soul-melting blood, you summon every last shred of your life, all your will, all your madness, all your despair and hope, focusing it on one single goal. Your arm lashes out like a venomous snake freed from all shackles, moving at an impossible speed and angle, clawing hard at Danzu's translucent arm nearby, the one flowing with that deadly scarlet pigment. Splat! A sensation beyond description shoots through your fingertips, cold, viscous, and searingly corrosive. It feels like you're gripping not an arm, but a mass of living, malicious fire. But you did it. Your fingers sink deep into the thick, scarlet liquid in her arm. The agony spreads from your fingertips through your entire arm, like countless red-hot needles piercing straight into your marrow. You can even feel that pigment trying to devour and assimilate your flesh. Ah! Danzu lets out a scream unlike anything before, sharp, distorted, and piercing, like the combined wails of countless tormented souls. For the first time, her flawless face twists with pain, her expression filled with fury, and a flicker of fear she can't hide. The scarlet liquid that forms her arm turns unstable, boiling and roiling violently, as though cold water had been splashed into burning oil. The section you're clutching writhes and fights like a living thing, fighting back. Using that grip as leverage, you twist your falling body just enough to avoid the blood pool, instead slamming hard onto its edge, a cold, jagged wall of condensed crimson crystal. Courting death! Danju's shriek is filled with annihilating rage. The arm you've tainted swells grotesquely, and the scarlet liquid gushes out like molten lava, forming a monstrous blood-red claw. It seethes with a heat that could burn all things, and a suffocating aura of malice rushing down at you, its speed inescapable. Before the claw even hits, the blistering heat wave and the suffocating stench of death scald your skin, crush your lungs, and rip at your very soul. It's over. This is the end. In despair, you shut your eyes tight. Yet the expected pain and obliteration never come. Silence. Absolute silence. No claw tearing into your flesh. No burning of your soul. Not even the bubbling of the blood pool. You snap your eyes open. Everything before you ripples and warps like water struck by a stone. The palace of painted beams and carved rafters melts away like wax in the scorching sun. Gemstones lose their luster, disintegrating into ash. The eternal flowers and exotic plants wither, blacken, and crumble into dust. Distant immortal peaks and jade pavilions collapse like sand castles swallowed by the tide. The solid ground beneath your feet turns hollow and transparent. The entire resplendent, dreamlike Yunmeng painting realm is collapsing, unraveling around you at lightning speed. You stare, stunned, at your fingers stained with scarlet pigment. The viscous liquid is sizzling, bubbling violently like a hot iron plunged into water, evaporating in bursts. Each droplet that vanishes carries with it a sharp, soul-piercing wail, as if countless imprisoned souls are being freed at once. The foundation of this painted realm the cinnabar pigment Danju spoke of is being ignited by your living flesh. You force yourself to look up. Danju floats in the void not far away. Her flawless face is twisted with agony and fury. like shattered porcelain. The pigment forming her body is boiling and vaporizing violently. Her gorgeous palace gown burns away like fragile paper, revealing beneath it an even denser mass of blackened human forms writhing in torment. Those silhouettes thrash and wail within the boiling scarlet. Then one by one, they burst apart, dissolving into curling black smoke. "No!" she screams, a final cry of defiance, mingled with the mourning of countless souls. Her voice is soaked with disbelief, despair, and terror as the foundation of her existence collapses. Her body crumbles like a sand painting ripped apart by a storm. First the arm of flowing pigment, then the shoulders, the torso, and finally that once peerless, enchanting face. Those autumn water eyes that had bewitched countless beings fix on you to the very end, filled with searing hatred and something else you can't name. A strange trace of relief and annihilation. Boom! The entire painted realm shatters, like a magnificent soap bubble pierced to nothingness. All color, light, and substance are stripped away in an instant. An overwhelming rush of weightlessness and vertigo hits, 100 times worse than when you entered this realm. It feels as though your soul is being torn violently from your body. Crash! Your back slams down with bone-jarring force amid the crack of splintering wood and a cloud of dust. Cold, damp, moldy air floods your nose and mouth. You cough violently, struggling to push yourself up. Before your eyes is a scene both familiar and grimly comforting because, compared to what you just escaped, it feels painfully real. The toppled clay statues, the cobweb-covered beams, the dust-choked floor, and that towering wall. The mural is still there, but the goddess at its center is different. Her flowing cloud-like gown now bears a massive, hideous tear running from the shoulder down, as though raked by an invisible claw. Around the tear, the pigment is charred and blackened, as if scorched by fire. Beneath the tear, there's no longer smooth, painted skin, but a muddied, brownish smear like filth soaked in dirty water. Looking closer, you can faintly see countless tiny, twisted, agonized black shapes layer upon layer, as if countless trapped souls are silently screaming. The goddess's once perfect face has lost its glow and vitality. The smile that could captivate all beings is now frozen into a stiff, hollow curve tinged with malice. Her eyes, once flowing with life, are now dead pools of black, staring blankly into the void of the ruined temple, as if silently cursing. Your gaze shifts with effort, falling to the shadow at the base of the statue. There, the old, dusty, long, extinguished oil lamp you once ignored on its rim now clings a single drop of vivid cinnabar red, like fresh blood just solidified, like a tear that will never dry. Outside the ruined temple, the storm still rages.